My name is Paige, and I am going to be tapping into the energy. This is December 26th, the day after Christmas, for those of you that celebrate. And I just want to go over briefly some of the astrology, as well as the energy that I've been picking up, the energy that I've been experiencing, and some of the messages that I have received. So I'm going to just give it a few minutes for people to come through onto the chat. And I hope that you are all doing well, and that those of you who do celebrate specific holidays, that you are having a wonderful holiday season. It's definitely different energy this year. Hello, Jess. I actually did have a great Christmas, but not in the sense that most would expect. I don't really celebrate or have the get together with my family until Saturday night. I actually had been pretty much bedridden for the last 2 days with extreme vertigo, but not anything like, it just was my body saying, no, you can't get up and move around. Because I was invited to go to specific holiday festivities and whatnot, and my body just said, nope, no, we can't do that. And I was fine. I was actually grateful to not be actually sick, where, I was suffering. It was just that if I got up and moved around, hi Dustin, if I got up and I moved around too much, I would get so dizzy. It was dangerous to actually even try to drive or go anywhere. So I stayed home for Christmas Eve and Christmas, was able to FaceTime with my grandson and received a lot of love. I really received a lot of messages and a lot of understanding of what was not only happening with me. Hello, Renzi. Not only what was happening with me, but what was happening for many of us on a cosmic scale. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that this year specifically, just keeping an eye on the chat there, is a little different. And it's really important. Many of us, it took extra work, let's just say, to really tap in and get into the holiday spirit, the spirit of gift giving and receiving, which I'm going to go into a really interesting story that I experienced. Thank you, Dustin. Oh, thank you. So there was, let me go backwards here. So the energy, the incoming energy, it was really interesting because as I was experiencing the vertigo, the dizzy spells, there was a lot of solar activity, a lot of solar flares that were coming in. And so I was already feeling that, but more so I had been talking about the third eye activity that I had been experiencing in the last couple of weeks and how psychedelic it had been. And so the psychic senses really changing, and almost as if it's an upgrade, I would say. The messages I kept receiving, and it's really hard for me to take my human frontal lobe brain part out of it, but it's a DNA upgrade. So many of us feel that physically, whether it is our body says slow down, Remember, a lot of the messages for the last few weeks or months has been like slow down, and we do have a lot of retrograde energy that we've been working with. Interestingly enough, Chiron, still in retrograde, will be going direct. I believe it's I lost the date, but it's either the end of this week or the end of next week. So working through our core wounds, really breaking free. I find that there's a lot of this energy for a big chunk of us that we've been going through a very long grief phase, years of it, whether we're conscious of it or not. And the end of the grief phase comes to acceptance. Let's see what you guys are saying. Hi, Chelsea. Thank you, Renzi. Yeah, it has been a while. I'm glad that you caught us live. Where am I from? I am from Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, the suburbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So back to what I had been experiencing and how I've been experiencing that personally also pertains to how many of you are experiencing the last few weeks of really trying to break free from some really old patterns and cycles of our lifetime. And what I had written down here, this has been a big part of the journey for many of us, is to really break free from what's known as the drama triangle, which is perpetrator, victim, savior. If you find that you are playing any of those roles, those parts, whether it's you think that it's on a high horse or there's no martyrs here. We don't want to martyr, but if you're in any of those roles, life right now is showing you big time exactly what role you're playing by mimicking and mirroring that to you, or activating and bringing it out within you. It's really trying to liberate us and free us. Hi, Lisa. And it's trying to free us from this drama triangle that we've all been born into. We've all been trained and taught to stay in and be in, that this is of the highest impeccable way of being and living, and we really want to get to a place of freeing ourselves from that. I wrote down a few of the transits that I find that may be causing some angst, some uncomfortable feelings. And the first thing that I want to bring up is Mercury, who is just about finishing up its post shadow from being retrograde. So we've had a lot of scattered thinking. The mind is all over the place, and we are trying to get to a place of being in an uncluttered mind. But before that, it's going all over the place. It's important to journal or take note as to where your mind takes you, because these are keys, these are clues to help unlock some box that you may have placed yourself in. So Mercury is in an opposition with Jupiter right now. And this can bring a lot of that scattered thinking, but also it can also, with Jupiter in the mix, have us a little overconfident in the way we are perceiving and even communicating, and the way we are picking things up. Like, I know, it's this overconfidence. So pay attention to that aspect. Mercury is also in a square. We've got a lot of squares to Saturn right now. So I want to talk briefly about Saturn. I don't want to go too much into the astrology, because I really want to go back into the experiences that I've had, the way that life had taken me through this journey to a place of an epiphany. I had been holding on to a story, a narrative, a belief, a pattern that I wasn't conscious of until it was right. It was gifted back to me by somebody else. And I will I'll put a pin in that for a moment here. Mercury square Saturn. This is being resistant, the mind, the mental resistance to thinking or seeing something in a newer, expansive, different way. So we've got an overconfidence. The way I'm viewing this, the way I'm perceiving this, the way I'm understanding this is the truth. And it may be your truth at that moment. That's the narrative of the mind. Then we've got Mercury squaring Saturn, which is the mind's also resistant because it's overconfident in having any other perspective or being able to see outside of or think outside of the box, wherever that box had been. We have Venus squaring Uranus, and this is the urge for, I want to break free. I really have these deep desires, yet there's another aspect of my life that is restricting or constricting me, and I want to break free. I want to have new experiences. I want to have the experience that my soul desires, truly. And then, of course, we have Jupiter square Saturn, which I was talking about in the last live. And that will be probably the most dominant energy that we are experiencing. It became exact, Christmas Eve, the 24th. And so we're going to ride this out for a little bit. Those squares to Saturn, man. Saturn is authority. It's our authority. Our own authority and who we give authority over us or who we perceive to have authority over us. Saturn's bringing some sobering reality checks to many people, many of us, if we can stay open to a new perspective, right? Because there's a lot of this resistance. There's a lot of wake-up calls that is in this energy. And so you may feel this push and pull, very strange, like, should I stay? Should I go? Stop and go energy with Saturn and Jupiter squaring each other. That's just a lot of expansion, contraction, and you really feel like, what is going on here? How am I? Saturn brings on the pressure. But remember, and my cat wants to come in, of course. Remember, without pressure, there is no release. And we have things we need to release. So without pressure, there's no release. What we've suppressed is coming up for release. But at first, it's going to be like really contracted and pressurizing. Sometimes I feel crazy, Lisa. You're not the only one. It's been a wild ride, but we are on this roller coaster, and it's very wavy. It's going to be, and I'm not going to invoke fear, but it's going to be pretty wavy for the next few months. Yet on the flip side of that waviness, there's a lot of we're elevating. We are, whether you know it or not, energetically, we are on that next stair step level. So we're riding waves, but at the same time, we are going to a next level and we're riding waves there. So it's like climbing a ladder and still riding waves, if that makes any sense for you guys. Right now, we have the moon in Scorpio. Alas, sigh. Scorpio. I love Scorpio energy. I am Sun Scorpio, so I resonate with Scorpio energy a lot, but there's this deep, deep, deep urge for depth. And anything that isn't giving us that depth, it's just like wah, wah, wah. It's like lost in the energetics. Scorpio, the moon in Scorpio, the moon being our emotions, our mood, how we feel, is emotionally raw right now. So give yourself grace with this. There's a lot of psychic we're in the psychic airwaves, really picking up on a lot. If you're receptive to it, if you're open, if you're in your heart, you're going to receive some really important psychic messages. But if you're in your mind, they could be really, can be a real screw with your mind. I'm going to say it that way. But the moon in Scorpio, we do feel more attuned to our feelings. So it's interesting how many people I've come across that are still, they think that they're feeling, but when they realize that they can't control or numb or suppress how they used to suppress their feelings, it's like, oh my God, I'm feeling so much. No, it's, oh my God, you're feeling. Really, you're truly feeling. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, thank you, Dustin. See, we have such a beautiful community here. We have such a beautiful community here. Thank you all. Bear with me. I'm going to let my cat in really quick because she's just crying outside. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Yes, our tribe is strong for sure. So, we're attuned to not only our own feelings with Moon and Scorpio, we are also feeling other people's feelings too. So it's really important as we go on the journey, as we continue on the journey, that we know what is ours and what is not ours. And it's so, the way I always check is I check with myself. I assume everything is mine, but I'll sit with it. If it's not giving me an instant like, oh, I know exactly what this is, I'll sit with it. What is this that I'm feeling? Take me there. Is this mine? Because I had, was it Christmas Eve? It was the 23rd. I had an encounter. I'm just going to say an encounter with somebody that I know very well, but that somebody had, and I didn't know it at first, I could feel it, that somebody had been deeply hurt and had been drinking and had opened themselves up to another entity or energy to really come through at me, like trying to like pull me in. And for a little bit, it did. And that's actually what started my vertigo experience for the next couple of days. But it was a lesson to me on energetic boundaries. You know, we can really hold space and be there with compassion and love and empathy in our hearts for others. But there's boundaries. Saturn is teaching us where we don't have strong, healthy boundaries. How is other people and their emotions and their emotional experiences through these waves affecting you, affecting us? So thank you. So many beautiful comments. I am going to receive them. Thank you very much. Okay. So really, truly, we are in a phase of overcoming our past experiences, overcoming the sufferings from our past experience through the stages of grief, getting to acceptance. And this is where I found myself at the solstice. Surprisingly enough, I thought I had been at acceptance, especially when it came to one specific area of my life. And it's actually my 7th house where Chiron and in Aries is. So I understood exactly that, oh, apparently I was not done this grief process. Apparently there had been, and I was aware of it, a small, very small, but very strong part of me that still wanted to hold on to a situation, a person, a narrative, a story. It was not doing me any favors. It was not serving me whatsoever. So the grief stages, it's anger, denial, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. And it doesn't have to go in that order, but I know that when you get to acceptance, that you are finally at the place where you are organically, naturally ready to let go and release. Unless you need to repeat the stages of grief, which I've done. There's no shame in that game, but it just does keep you in that drama triangle that I was talking about with victim, perpetrator, savior, or rescuer. Unconscious patterns that we've lived with for so long that they're unconscious, right? We just think it's normal, or it's actually not doing us any harm. Yeah, life is showing us right now where in the mind and even in our actions, we have not been true to ourselves. We have not been honoring our own heart and soul and desires. So let's get into some of this energy a little deeper. Where do we want to start? Well, the spiral of healing gets me every time. Oh, yes, I wanted to tell you about my story. Okay. Yes, thank you, Chelsea. It is the spiral of healing. And we think we're done because then we get released and we're like, clarity, and I feel better. And you even have new people and new experiences come into your life. And then, like, let's say 6 months down the road, bam, you get hit with the same energy again, or the same test or the same challenge, only to come out and realize, I haven't quite gotten past this stuff yet. Well, whatever it is, we all have our own unique journey and our own unique things that are teaching us sovereignty and truth and to live from our heart. And again, we are coming up to the very end of the lunar nodes, North and South Node. North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra. So that is the relationship, karmic relationship axis. This will shift in a few weeks. So we've had 18 months of Aries Libra. Our relationship to ourselves is our initial and most important thing to focus on in this past 18 months. How we treat ourselves, how we see ourselves, how we talk to ourselves. Because truly, our relationship to the others, the Libra, the South Node, is complete and utter reflection of a relationship to ourselves. And so we have been tested in that, shown that, asked to let go of old attachment styles, old behavior patterns, old beliefs about ourselves. That's coming to an end. But before any energy switches off to the next zodiac, we get like final exams. It's like Earth School. It's like we get final exams, big final push to break free from an old pattern, an old belief system, an old way of being that has been placed on us, to get to the center, the truth of our true soul core nature of ourselves, to get to our heart, to really get to our heart. What's awesome though is if we reflect on that pattern returning, we either go through it shorter or handle it differently, or it starts affecting us less and less. Yes. And each time we have that pass through, because it does, none of us, maybe some things we can have an instant breakthrough, but a lot of times it is layer after layer after layer. Time is not a straight linear line. It is a spiral. We come back around, we touch on the same things over and over and over again. It gets easier. We have more enlightenment, more realization, more releasing, right? Become true, or it's like an onion. Yes, yes. So my experience, before I get into the cards, because I feel like I've been nudged to really share this with you guys, because some of you or all of you are going to have some kind of resonance to this, right? And I have been talking about a relationship, a connection that had been a giant catalyst to my awakening journey into this experience that I'm having now with you. All of my, to embrace and embody my psychic senses, my mediumship capabilities, and to really open up and come out of the closet, so to speak, right? And this was years ago. I want to say 7 or 8 years ago now. I'm losing track of time there. But there was one very specific catalyst, and it came in the form of a man that really took my heart and soul on a ride in a big way. And it had been really hard to fully break free from the parts within me that wanted to just hold on to, because it's very special. Like I said, I'll never ever fully release that experience that came through this one person and myself, because it's very sacred and very important to always remember that, and have gratitude, be grateful. But it was an extremely painful journey as well. So I went to a sacred, now I'm trying to remember what she called it, a fire ceremony for the solstice, and it was facilitated by a shaman. Her name is Eagle Skyfire. For anybody that's in this area, she is amazing, and she now works out of Solace Farms, where I do. And so we had this new fire ceremony, is what it was called. Hi, Martin. And through the ceremony, there was also a gift giving experience and a potluck afterwards. What we were meant to give was something that we have been holding on to, that meant something dear to us, had a very important and expansive meaning for us on our journey. And it is now time for us to let go of and give to someone else, meaning no longer attached to an item, something, right? So, and we were to write a small little note as to why what we were giving was important, the significance of it. So the gift that I picked, then each of us in the circle took turns just choosing from the pile in the center. And the gift that I chose was so perfect, because when I opened it, it was actually, I have it right here. It was this ceramic mug, looks to be handmade or homemade, with a note in it that says, "If it's too hot to hold, it's too hot to drink." And I just sat with it. I instantly knew what that meant, but it wasn't until I met with the man who had surrendered this beautiful cup with this note afterwards at potluck to get his story. And so this cup belonged to someone very sacred and important to his journey and him, and had a heart-opening, expansive, just like I was talking about with my guy, heart-opening, expansion, awakening, very intense. They're very intense connections, too hot to hold, too hot to hold on to. And he and this person were no longer connecting in the physical anymore, but this person was always in his heart. And he would drink his tea from this cup every single day for the years that they were apart. And he finally had reached the stage of acceptance, the end of grief, and was ready to let it go. And guess who got it? Me. And it was just, I almost cried. It meant so much to me that I received that, because it was also not only a beautiful gift to receive, the message there was And it's a message that the universe has been like, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Are you ready to let this person go? It's too hot to hold. It's too much. It's not doing you any favors. And so I was just blown away. And I would say since the solstice, since that experience, the energy of this other person, now that it will always be swirling around, but it had its grips on me for like a couple of weeks prior to that. And I actually was even getting text messages from my guy, like, what, and I'm like, what is going on? Because none of it made any sense to me, but I found that to be beautiful. So this is how life is talking to us in many different ways. It comes through people. It comes through the gifts that you give or receive. It's going to touch a place inside of you in your heart when you're ready. I accept where I've been. I accept what I've experienced, and that is a part of my soul's growth. It's part of my journey, and holding on to any story, whether it's a good story or a bad story, is holding me back. Holding on to the memory or the hope that this person's going to come back actually makes no logical sense. First of all, to me, in my brain, there's just an inner child part in me that I had to really look deeper in and say, why are you still holding on to this person? But anyway, I had to share that, because not only did that touch me so deeply and have a deep impact on me, as the universe knew it would, it also reminded me of the true spirit in gift giving and gift receiving. It's not about let me go out there and what do you want for Christmas? What is your list? And let me get the best one, and one-upping each other and all the... that thing, I got vertigo and dizziness from exposure to all of that too much, Art speaks volumes. Absolutely, absolutely. How are you all doing? How are you holding up in this energy? It's a lot. It's intense, right? Not that it's, bad. Blissful. That's good. I love that. Hi, Maureen. You're welcome. Yeah. It's interesting to see, because there have been many times in my spiraling around the journey where I really thought I was free from something, only to realize when it came back around, like, oh, he texted me. Oh, like there were all these things, and I'm like, but it was not actually the kind of text messages I would want to receive anyway. It, like, whatever tiny thread I've been holding on to for dear life finally, like, snapped, I think. Oh no, I hear a lot of people being sick. Just fine. Thanks, Martin. Oh, you've been sick? I'm sorry, Lisa. Headaches. Yes, that's how my vertigo started 2 days ago. Bad headache, bad pressure in the back of my head. And then every time I got up, I got so dizzy I would almost pass out. It was really dangerous. I'm glad to be around people like yourself. Oh, thank you, Master Light. There's amazing community here. So many people in here we're all just family. It's beautiful. Jess, there's a lot of different avenues to this energy right now. Yeah. Lisa, first with stomach. Oh, now COVID. Oh my gosh. Chelsea, it feels expansive, but definitely not always butterflies and rainbows, right? I don't know where our Patricia is. I hope that she's okay. That was another thing that, I understand that we all have a lot of different things we still have to work out that we might not fully recognize or realize as far as what's in the pain body and where different planetary cycles and energies are going to really ping and pour salt into wounds and hit. But it feels like the universe is against you. It feels like people are against you, and truly it is designed by, and this is going to trigger some people, but it is designed by us, our higher self, our team of light. It's divine energy that is really stripping away from us, peeling that onion back, all that needs to go. And in order to do that, we actually get called into the wound itself. And this is where we can stay in that drama triangle of victim, perpetrator, and savior. And this is the name of the game, is to get off of that triangle altogether. We did sign up for this, the soul growth, absolutely. And when we can really rise up out of it and remember, it's a remembering. I remember. If you really sit with it and think about it, it's like, why am I here? What am I doing here? I'm certainly not here to do any of the things I was taught or told to do. And even what my spiritual ego mind thinks is not true. We are specifically wired and designed to hold this new frequency of energy that's coming onto the planet. Now, never before has this energy reached our planet. I don't want to say never ever before, but we're talking like hundreds of thousands of years. Humanity's been in the dark ages. We are coming out of the dark ages. It's scientifically proven that the frequency of energy and the solar flares and all of these other things coming onto the planet is like not only raising the vibration of the planet, raising the vibration in our bodies, it's raising our consciousness. Now, not everybody is wired to be affected by this right now, but those of us that are here having this conversation, yes, we are all in that same wave. And the mission is to hold that frequency, to get into the heart energy, and to allow life to help you strip yourself away from the old story, the old narrative, the past pain, the past traumas. It's not easy, but we are designed for this. We are wired for this. We have played those roles of those that we see suffering so deeply. And I will tell you, last night, and it was Christmas, but it didn't matter. I had been nudged, come here, I want you to see something, by the universe, by my guides. And it was a documentary. Not even a I guess it was kind of like a YouTube documentary on the streets. I'm going to say this with love. But the streets of Kensington, North Philadelphia, where I live, is probably one of the most horrific human experiences that one can witness, aside from what's going on over in the Middle East with the wars and whatnot. There's some weird loophole that had happened where nobody is really charged. You can freely use drugs in this one section of the city, not all of Philadelphia, just Kensington. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, if you're curious, look it up. But I watched this full documentary, and it brought me into people that I know, my experiences. My mom used to work at a drug rehab. I know the ins and outs of all of this, but there's this new, they're tainting the heroin and the fentanyl. It used to be fentanyl was what was being placed in the heroin. Now what's being placed in the fentanyl or the heroin is this other stuff called trank. And it's like a horse tranquilizer, right? And what it's doing is it's giving all the addicts these open sores all over their body where it's flesh eating. And it is like literally walking zombie land. And I just sat and watched, and I, like, not even in horror, like, wow, that is what's happening right now. And I saw the whole trickle down. I saw how it all began, how it all happened. I'm not even sure why I'm sharing this anymore. Where was I going with all of that? Oh, because the one thing that I saw in between all of that, when they were interviewing a lot of these people that were really felt trapped and stuck there, was that they don't want to be there. They feel trapped. They have love in their heart. They actually were hugging each other, taking care of one another. It's not a violent scene. It's not something that you have to worry like you're going to actually be killed. Like maybe from the drug dealers might do something, but really, truly, it is heartbreaking. But I saw a lot of heartfelt compassion there within the people that were homeless. They live on the streets, and they actually swept away their encampments. They used to have tents, and we're talking, I don't know how many blocks, but in July, that part of the district cleaned up all the tents, but the people are still on the streets, right? I mean, I know that this exists other places in the world, but to the degree that Kensington is, I don't feel like there are people coming from other places in the world to Kensington to freely use drugs and not get arrested, kind of thing. Yeah, heartbreak, zombie drug. Yeah, they looked like zombies. It was so wild. I'm sure we'll be leaning into the moment the moon's axis goes into Virgo and Pisces. Yeah, surrender and letting go. Yep. Trank is supposed to be the worst, yes, than what most people have seen. It's destructive. And you know, it's intentionally placed in there. They actually interviewed one of the guys that is a dealer. I can't believe how this actually went about. Like, they had their voice changed over and stuff like that, but the cartel's involved, I mean, there's a whole plan. But the main thing, the main takeaway that I received was that each and every one of us, we can get swept up and caught up in the devastation that's happening to humans around the planet, or we can also recognize that in other lifetimes, or even in this lifetime for some of us, we've been there. We've been in some of those places. In my deep past, I had an opioid addiction after having back surgery. Not that the fact that I was on the street, but just from the pills that the doctors were giving me, I couldn't quit for many, many years until I had this grand awakening, and I was like, oh my God, I can't take this stuff anymore. That's like divine intervention right there. So I had a lot of compassion for a lot of the people that ended up on those streets, because I could have been one of them. A lot of them were just like me, or exactly like me. And now they're living in hell. It's quite satanic. It really is. It truly is. Okay, we got off topic, but not really off topic. There's no topic, right? Happy holidays. We can't sweep those things under the rug, though. It is part of the duality that we live in. But to remember why we are in the place that we are in now. After watching that, I was humbled yet again. So much gratitude for where I am, that I'm healthy, that I'm happy. I have my own home. I have, life just shifted and moved in my favor when I shifted and moved out of being a victim, out of even playing savior for others, out of all of that, and really started to listen to the messages that were carrying me. Walk this way. It's a very still, calm voice within. We all have it. Go this way. Don't do that. But there's no fear. There's no strong emotion tied to it. It's very calm. very firm but calm. We're here to get out of our ego. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know if we'll ever get out of the ego, but definitely temper and tame and recognize how much control the ego has had, right? Because the ego is our protector. It's our personality. It's what we've developed to walk this earth. But truly understand that we are getting energetically upgraded, physically and in our energy bodies. So many of you may have had a lot of ringing in the ears, right? A lot of flashes of like heat and cold. You might be getting sick. I was having a lot of visions, literally visions. I could see what my cat was dreaming when she was sleeping. I could see, like, in my mind's eye so much now. And when I realized, like, wow, when a lot of it was confirmed to me, I thought, I'm just imagining all this, and all of a sudden think, no, my cat doesn't confirm things to me, but like other people confirm to me, I'm like, okay, I understand now. Third eye activity is like off the chart. Then I get like sinusy stuff because the body is like trying to, the energy is going in there. It's clearing up those chakras. And so we can get like itchy, watery eyes or sinus pressure, or, a throat chakra, sore throat, lump in the throat, crown chakra, headache, a lot of pain and pressure. I have a lot of heat that comes off of my head from time to time. The ear ringing also can be a combination of the throat chakra and the third eye. It's wild what we are experiencing right now. Very psychedelic. There's another side of us we've barely tapped in. We're tapping into that now, I feel like. Amy says, I've been getting intuitive hits about Willow. I hear that word all over the place this week. That's interesting. I know somebody that's named Willow down south where my mom lives. Lisa, yes, the ear ringing. Chelsea, the sinus stuff for the past month. Yep, Amy, the blue beings are helpful. Heal us with these high frequencies. Yes. Oh, if you see actual blue beings, bless you. I see the the orbs. When my mom was here, that's when I started really seeing things a lot, because like she's also very intuitive. And she's a Pisces. She can really have like pretty cool experiences without any drugs, right? And I just kept seeing orbs everywhere, and not just in the corner of my eye. They'd be like, oh, here I am, and most of them were blue. Now sometimes they would be multicolored, but it was like the timing and the conversation, like when they appeared, I'm like, yeah, hi, you're here, blue flashes of light in my peripheral. Yep, yeah. So interesting. That's Arcturian energy from my understanding. And I've been receiving a lot of messages from the Pleiades. So, and on top of like one of their channelings, their books came to me twice. Like I had it twice. I was talking about that in the last video too, Bringers of the Dawn book, which I thought I read, but I guess I wasn't ready to read years ago when I had it, because once I dove into it, I'm like, I don't remember reading this, but it's really on point with what's going on now. That book was channeled and written in the 1980s, and it's talking about stuff that's going down right now. So it was time for me to read it, I suppose. Confirmation, really, it's just validation and confirmation to all of the message that I've been receiving. So it's just like, oh, I don't really need all of that, but it's nice to have. It's nice to receive, All right, I've been on here 49 minutes. I have not pulled a single card. Let's dive in and see what message we have. The moon, the subconscious, the mystery, Oh, Three of Swords. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Tell me about King of Pentacles, please. Okay. We have the Hanged Man, overall energy, suspended in midair, a slowdown. We're kind of being hung up right now. I know that most of us, with this Venus energy, oh yeah, Venus squaring Uranus. Uranus wants to go. It's like, come on, let's get it over already. Let's get into the new earth. Let's get into the new experiences, the feel good, the fun, the Venus stuff, the things that we want to have experiences with, right? And it's just not time. Not quite time yet. There's more for us to be illuminated within about. And the illumination, it's so funny because after this teacup experience that I had, I started to see my experience with the person that I was being asked to really just, with love, release. And all of a sudden, I was able to see pain points that were suppressed, hidden. You know how like you have experiences with people and you could be spellbound, or you just sort of don't really take seriously some things that come out of their mouth that could be triggering or hurtful, and sweeping things under the rug because there's such a good overtone of amazing feeling, and like, I love this person. I don't, you know, they said something, but they were probably drinking, or they might like make excuses and all of that. It's coming back around saying, take a look. Well, this has been my experience, but this reading is showing me right now that many of us, and that's just an example, don't dismiss those pain points. Don't dismiss. There's one, it's one thing to be betrayed, stabbed in the back. That's our human perspective. And yes, these things have happened. We have been hurt by others. Yet, deeper within is something stored that it will actually, when we illuminate it, will release us from the spell, the story, the narrative. The entire, they're showing me something. The entire enchantment of an experience, a person, a situation. It doesn't have to be a person, but I think for a lot of us it is, especially with the relationship, karmic relationship axis that we are working in. It doesn't have to be romantic, by the way. This can be with friends, siblings. It's highlighting, it's opening up, it's saying, don't dismiss. Don't dismiss what's come out of somebody else's mouth, or what somebody else, their behavior, their actions that you may have swept under the rug in the past. However, the important thing is to understand that when we have these experiences with another, especially when there's a very strong pull, there's a very strong, like when you have a very strong attraction, magnetic attraction to somebody, that means that we are contracted to learn something, to grow, to evolve, and to release from an older version and from old wounds. So this is helping us really release ourselves from these patterns of attachment styles, of codependency, of this last pass is still active now. It may not be as intense as, for some, it might be even more intense, but for many of us, it may not be as intense as it once was, because it's really, it's like a repeat. And it might not be coming from the same person, but it's a repeat, like trying to test us. A lot of times when we like overcome something, the universe is like, all right, let's test them. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Can you stay in your heart? Can you stay in your heart for yourself? This is really interesting. There's a lot of messages coming through here. Star-crossed lovers, yeah. Great prologue of lessons. I feel like we have the King of Pentacles with the Six of Pentacles in reverse. It's really uprooting something that we haven't quite gotten over, or haven't quite, not just gotten over, triumphed over. I mean, the Six of Pentacles is like victory. I did it. In reverse, it's like we thought maybe we did. We thought, I'm there, I got it. I'm on top of it. I'm going to get a little bit more on the King of Pentacles too, because this is an interesting energy that I'm picking up here. It may be coming from somebody that you thought was like stable, you thought was had their shit together. You know, it could be a boss, it could be somebody that just has that role, that Saturnian, like, could be a Capricorn, could be just somebody that appears to have their shit together. But in all actuality, we're all in this together. There is no hierarchy. Are you giving somebody away? Are you giving power away to somebody? That's interesting. There is no hierarchy. I mean, there is and there isn't in life. We are the one that place value. We're the ones that place people on a pedestal. I'll tell you. Now, with a lot of this Mercury energy, I know from my experiences also, the way I was perceiving, let's just say, okay, I'm going to just take another example. Perceiving someone in my life had changed over a period of time. I've watched their growth and their waving, going into their lessons, and there's been separation and connection. And I really felt like, and maybe this person really did change, but coming back around to see that, because we have more than one part to us, right? To see that the wounded part within someone has not, continuously is taking over their consciousness again. And when that happens, sometimes they come in my direction. They come for me. They want validation. They want to see, do I still have this kind of power? Do I still have this kind of pull? Because I've grown and evolved and changed. So I think it's a test for two. It's a test for both sides. I can't recall anyone I've come across that seems to have it all together. People are changing jobs, lifestyles. People seem to either be distracted or at odd ends with life. Exactly. What I'm just saying is that the appearance, I guess, it's false. It's not real. I'm going to get a little deeper into this because I just kind of went down a rabbit hole there. Oh, none of us are the same person we were a year ago. And the same thing, like, in essence, we are all one. It's just that we all take on all these fractals of the one, and we have different archetypes and different parts, and some are stronger in some than others. Like, people with multiple personality disorders are just very strongly connected to all of their parts. We all have multiple parts, and sometimes we feel a very strong connection to certain parts within us. And when you go into that, like, psychological aspect of it, the main goal would be to bring all of the parts back to wholeness, back to one, back to the heart, back to the present consciousness, you know? Let's get a little more clarification on this message. And can we slow down the messages too? They're coming in really fast. I think my message, what I was reliving for me was about boundaries and having healthy boundaries, because there are those that have been wounded and hurt and in pain that we are connected to, that maybe we had taken some space or some time away from, and they went about their healing journey, returning back because they are once again in pain. It's like testing us. Am I taking these? No. Give me one. One on the King of Pentacles, please. Okay. 6 Pentacles. All right. That's interesting. The Sun. The ultimate goal for the Hanged Man here is to help us reach the sun, ourself, joy, happiness, love, connection, the sun. Some think of the sun as actual divine energy of God itself, whatever that means for you, source, prime creator. Without the sun, nothing would be alive on this planet. I like that, Martin. When? What's important now? Yeah, exactly. The thing is, I feel like this mental chatter and this mental activity is so strong that it's like, we're actually questioning ourselves a lot and questioning everything a lot. And that's actually not a bad thing. But it's important to really get into your heart. Because when you're in the mind analyzing things a little too much, we go back into old programming a lot of times. If we're not tapped into the heart, if we're not coming from a loving place, and loving place of self is important. Hi, Julie. I feel connected here, drawn to your chat. Welcome, welcome. So let's get back to the moon. The moon. I love the depiction of the moon here, too. The underworld, the emotional body, that which sometimes, not always, is hidden or a mystery. But I feel like what is arising with the moon, also this gravitational pull, a force that is forcing us to feel everything. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that brings me back to the story of watching about Kensington, the streets of Kensington, and some of the interviews, all of them. One of the main reasons why people got into drugs as deeply as they did was, yeah, there's underlying trauma, but the true reason was they didn't want to feel what they were feeling. It was too hard to feel. There was no emotional support. There was no emotional, there was no way to support the deep, like intense emotions that just took over. And the only thing to like make them feel better or even operate somewhat what they would consider human is to numb those emotions. And that became a repetitive, that snowballs into now they're feeling, but they're like, I'm in hell and I don't know how to get out of here, kind of thing. Yeah, we've all been down the dark path one way, somehow. But now, I don't think that there's many people that can get away from feeling to some degree. At least most of us. I know, was it a week ago? Time escapes me. It was when my mom was visiting, and another one of my friends came over to use my oven to make her cookies because her oven stopped working. And she brought some wine. And so I had a glass. Actually, I had two. Maybe not fully 2 glasses of wine. And oh my God, that wine, I don't remember all the conversation that we had. Like everything seemed to be okay. I passed out on my couch. I threw up, vomited all over my couch and my rug. And my mom said I was like talking like all this, like I can't do anything. Spirit's like, you ingest something, like you don't know what's gonna come out of you. It was scary. And I was like, I didn't even do it to numb anything out. It was like holiday spirit, have a glass of wine. Okay, blah. No, can't do that anymore. That's this new energy. And I'm like, fine, I'm not attached to it, but oh my God, be careful. I'm not saying don't, but be mindful, because that's what happened to me. And I certainly learned my lesson. That's for sure. It took me ages to get to reality, yes. I'm so proud of anyone that's been down that path as well and came out to start healing. There is hope. There's a lot of, it is not the end of the rope. That is living hell, though, for sure, for sure. Hi, Marie. I have no desire to drink. It's weird. It's great. I know, it is great. I just didn't expect that was going to be the reaction. It was so weird. I had ginger beer. Is ginger beer alcoholic? I love ginger beer, but the ginger beer here is not alcoholic. I guess you could probably buy it alcoholic, but I don't know. I enjoy a drink every now and then, but holy crap, if I'm going to have that kind of reaction, and maybe it's just the current energy, I don't know. I didn't have much. It was so strange. It was so strange. But it freaked me out. I was like, I felt like a teenager having my first drink ever. That's really what it felt like. My self-awareness went out the window when I used to drink 5 years without alcohol. Good for you. Awesome. Recently started to... I traded one bad drug for another. That happens. I've been sober from opioids for over 10 years. Have not had a drink in 5. Thank you, Amy, for going down that journey with me. Thank you both for sharing that. I feel like I want to be here to help others. That's my role. Sometimes it's nice for someone to just lend a hand sometimes. I like a little drink, haha. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. There's no judgment here. There's no shame. I'm just saying, it's just a fizzy, Martin. I'm just saying that it definitely does something to the consciousness. I mean, we all can kind of come to that understanding, but even more so, it had such a strange physical reaction to me this time that it kind of scared me. Okay. Um, Alright. Congratulations, Jess. Congratulations to all of them. All of you. Sorry, I'm like going through these things. Jess, Amy, all of us. We all, like, if we reflect back on those dark days, it didn't seem like there was ever going to be a way out. You know what I mean? Like, I remember that. Like, I deep down in my soul, I knew it. But, like, at the time, consciously, no matter what I tried, it didn't seem like I could get myself out of that trap until life finally said, all right, now's your chance. And I knew it. And I was like, I surrender. Take me. Take me. As crazy as I may seem, I'm much happier now. They call them alcohol spirits for a reason. That's right. I know. I know. Some people that, oh yeah, because I just had a phone conversation with somebody, and I think it was the universe's way of just telling me or warning me, because someone called me under the influence of alcohol, and I felt the weird, like there was some kind of new energy or entity in her, and I was just like, I felt it. I felt energetically, I don't want to say attacked, but I definitely did not have energetic balances for sure. Algal, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. We are all stronger and healthier. Yep. I know. I didn't think I was going to make it either. But, you know, at the same time, I knew it. Like, I'm a mother. I had, like, on the outside, nobody knew. I played it I was under doctor prescriptions. I had a professional job. I had other things going on. And I made excuses for myself that it was okay. It was needed, you know, until it came time for me to not want to be on that ride anymore. And I realized, like, oh shit, this has got a grip on me. This is not good, you know. That was such a long time ago now, but it's something I'll never forget. And I'm not ashamed of. I feel like we chose that journey. We chose that as being our darkness to get out of. Everybody has their pick. Their soul chooses something really difficult and challenging, and something that's going to give you a very heavy block of shame to carry and then release. Because that shame took me, I want to say, 6 or 7 years to clear out of my system and get to a point where I'm grateful for having the experience, and I'm actually proud to talk about it. And if anything, if I can help anybody that is in that situation now to see that there is light on the other side, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm not ashamed of it anymore. I was, though. I really was. Didn't want anybody to know. You know what I mean? Of course, my whole family, like everybody in my life knew, but not like publicly. I didn't publicly put it out there. Now it's like, I don't care. There's so many people out there struggling and suffering, and it's so stupid to have this stigma. And the shame just keeps you in that loop of not being able to break out of it. You know what I mean? That's the worst, is when you're so good at being in that state that others can't tell. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Heavy like lead, essential for alchemy. That's right. You're better off without it. Your brain is better too. Yeah. I was that good for so long. No one knew until I said something. Right. Me too. When I was finally at a breaking point. Yep. And that, isn't that interesting? And we're very lucky too. Very lucky to have come out of it pretty much unscathed. I mean, not everybody comes out of it without some kind of physical mutilation or mental something going on, you know. So the moon, and I see this so clearly. What were we talking about? The moon. Moon's in square with Venus. They just told me to look down at my paper. The moon in Scorpio right now, challenging Venus. There's the spiral. There's the spiral of our mind, our perspective, how we can see things in so many different angles and lights and facets. I feel like this is a really important topic too. I can imagine on the outside you're all brave, and on the inside we're needing the help. Sometimes only you can help you. That we were definitely the only ones that could help us. And that was the lesson there, for sure. I love this safe space. Thank you. I do too. Thank you, everyone. This is a very sacred and safe space for us all. Looks like your brain at the moment. Yeah. That's a lot of our brains right now at the moment. And that's just, being able to see things from multiple perspectives, multiple angles. And it depends on what we're willing to release and let go of, or where are we resistant to, where do we think we actually know, all of it, the truth. But this is got a lot to do with something that we've been growing for a while here in our life. And I think this is ourself, actually. 7 of Pentacles. The seed of newness, our new experience, our life here on earth. It's changing. We've been nurturing it. We've been watching it. We've been taking care of it. And we can see ourselves from the past up to now, and all the different versions of ourselves and all the things that we've experienced, and how we actually perceived ourselves and others and life then versus how we are perceiving ourselves and others and life now. Depends on what lens you're looking through. Depends on how much pressure you have. Saturn is that pressure. And without pressure, there is no release. We have to sometimes get crushed in to release it, if that makes sense. Do we not also happen to have Chiron Lilith opposition? Yes, we do. That doesn't make it that much easier, does it? So Lilith in Libra, right? Lilith is it's our fears. It's the darkness within. It's also our repressed anger, pain. So Chiron and Lilith is almost like that which actually has happened to us and what actually that creates inside. That tension, that anger, that shadow. There's so much more that wants to come up from that. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, put it down, shove it down, because Lilith is the dark feminine energy. Think of Medusa and the story of Medusa. She was actually a goddess of love and expression of sacred sexuality. And she was looked upon and pretty much tortured and punished for just holding this sacred, beautiful energy within, to the point where she was made into the Medusa with the snakes, and if she looked at you, you would turn to stone because of what had happened to her, how she was treated, right? Right there in the current moon axis. Yep. And then Chiron, our deepest core wounds, from childhood. A lot of that stuff is coming up for sure. And that maybe that's the pain that we're talking about here. Well, ultimately, it always is. Anything that we experience in this lifetime that is painful is something that we initially experienced in childhood. And if you want to go a step further, we actually experienced in another life, in a past life. There are things that were unresolved, not completed. We signed up, we're like, I can clear this up in this time. Let's go, let's do this. We come back, we have complete amnesia, and we're like, why is this happening to me? What is going on? Right? Yeah, Chiron's taking a sweet time in in Aries. Well, the retrograde is about over. Not quite. But yeah, that explains a lot of weirdness that's coming up too. And it's interesting because I look at how things it would have affected me like this past week. There were a lot of things like in my past would have really upset me, would have had a story, nobody cares about me, woe is me, blah, 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 victim mentality. Now I'm like, oh, well, okay. It doesn't have that same flavor. It doesn't have that same bite. Actually, I was kind of grateful that a lot of the things that arose in my life experience this past week, including me getting vertigo and during Christmas Eve and Christmas and staying home all by myself, I eventually ended up being grateful that I'm not out there driving around and doing all the crazy and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'll have time with family. I always do. I needed that downtime, you know? I have learned forgiveness helps with those issues. Absolutely. Internalizing it. I know some people that still have that mentality and it's hard to deal with. I know. Because we're all on our, like, many of us are riding the same frequency, the same, I'm not gonna say we're gonna have the same exact perspective, but we don't have to have the same perspective. It's like breaking out of a bubble, out of a box, out of a mentality from the past and being able to understand to a degree, or at least accept what has happened in the past, accept the lessons, accept the clearing, the karmic clearing. A lot of these things that we have actually been victim to were not lessons. We were maybe catalysts to somebody else's lesson. It's an honor. Sometimes it's an honor to actually have gone through the fire, to realize that it actually made me a bigger person, but it definitely taught the other person a big, valuable lesson. And so we can actually kind of ride it out. There's so many different ways to unpack it. And I'm not going to tell anybody to just get over it, because that is not at all helpful or the truth. We have to go through the healing journey, the healing phase, and the stages of grief as well. We do have to have those experiences of that drama triangle, the victim, the perpetrator, and the savior, and play all those roles to realize like none of it fits, none of it feels right, and it's actually none of it is who I am or why I'm here, why I'm supposed to be having these experiences in the first place. I grew up with a mom who was always playing the victim. Isn't it interesting? Like, I had a lot of people in my life come into my life that was played victim, and it used to piss me off. Like, I wouldn't say it verbally, but inside I'm like I was the one going, get over it. Like, I went through way worse. And so it was like pouring salt in my own wounds as a kid and stuff like that. I had so much anger in me when I was younger. It was crazy. Jess, we had 3 Christmas Eves and a wedding in the last 5 days. Wow. There's never enough time, it feels, to just sit in silence and recovery. Yeah, that sounds like a lot. Julie, I sort of had that, Amy, very depending on others and controlling. It's so, Amy, it's sad so many people are still living in the past. Pluto is moving on, and we will be forced to move on. Yeah. Julie, I was so grateful to learn from it at a young age. Yes. Yes. Yes, I can imagine, Amy. It was always a lot. And so used to that, I think. Yes. And we can realize that we all play very important roles. But now we're in a new paradigm. It's time to end role playing. It's time to end being a martyr. It's time to end being a victim for many of us. Not everybody. Everybody's on their path, their journey, and we shouldn't want to force or expect anybody to see how we see, believe what we believe. It's a journey. It's a journey. And it's really not about the destination. It's about the journey. More of us that can hold the higher vibrations that are coming in to the planet, and really hold it within our heart and live from our heart, the better. It has a ripple effect. It really affects the vibration on the planet as well. I don't want to get too deep into vibration because a lot of these important understandings have been infiltrated by, not intentionally, by spiritual community, by people who want to market and profit from that manifestation, vibration, all. We all know better than to not fall for that stuff, but there's truth in there's bits of truth in all of that too. But it's not the whole truth, because truly we can't hold this high vibrational energy if we still got baggage. If we got junk in the trunk, it's going to be like, get me out of here. Like, you're going to feel it. It's going to have reverberating effects. Life is just, it's doing its thing to help us along so that we can eventually really be, I don't want to say floating, but we're vibrating. We're in a new energy, and it's here. It's already here. We're just kind of catching up with it. We get big blasts. I swear we had some big giant blasts in the last couple of days. It really took me down, and I feel it in my jaw. I hear it in my ears, and you can feel it in your body too. It's trying to embrace our true character. Yep. The man babies. What did my mom, she had a word for something, because she worked in the drug and alcohol facilities. I think she had a term like that, like man baby. It just reminds me of something that my mom said. I need to heal and grow up myself, I think, before that. We've all come a long way. We have to recognize that. That's the most important thing. We can't expect ourselves to be somewhere where we're not. We've got to be really present and understand life is helping us, our higher selves. We all have guides. We all have a team of light. And just look around. The universe is talking to us and guiding us through all of this the entire time. Life is showing us. It's showing us. If it doesn't feel good, like if it causes pain, take it within. Ask, what is this showing me? What is this teaching me? Help me understand. So we stop placing blame outside of ourselves, so we can actually course correct our mentality, our mindset, our perspective on what has been in our blind spot there. That we couldn't pick up, because we are growing, we are evolving. Here comes the channeling. We are elevating out of the pain body and into the higher mind. The higher mind that sees all, like the owls that have been sitting outside of my house hooting every night. They can see in the dark. They can see what I can't see. They're up in the trees. Sorry. My son called. Can you hear me? Interruption. Let me know that you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up. Sometimes when I get a call. Okay. Sometimes when my phone rings, it like cuts us all off. I don't even remember where I was there, but oh, higher perspective. Yeah, higher perspective. Seeing from that vantage point of like, I understand now. It takes us out of being in victim mentality and really places us in the Queen of Swords, which is the higher mind. And that's kind of a victorious energy to be in. King of Pentacles, we're also, we have the resources now. Since we've been through a big leg of the journey, we have resources. Maybe you don't have material resources, but these cards are kind of telling me that trust that the material resources that you need for your journey will be on your path, will be there. Take what you already have as far as a resource and go with it. The only reason why the Six of Pentacles is in reverse, they're saying, is because there's just a little bit more work here that needs to be done. I think many of us, myself included, have neglected to take down time. Take time down. See that nest? resting the mind. It's a bit in reverse. It's the holidays, right? Everybody's like, gotta go here and go there. But really, truly, when we can take that time to just to ourselves, this hangman, this in suspension, and they're saying it is coming, be patient. It's best to not have like grandiose expectations. Sure, visualize, have the visualizations and the intentions. And for some of us, actually, what it is that we wanted to create, the opportunities are presenting themselves. Go for it. I definitely have had a lot of those recently as well. But don't neglect when the body tells you rest. When the mind is going nonstop, slow it down, rest. The trouble with having an open mind, of course, is that people will insist on coming along and trying to put things in it. Yeah. Discernment is a gift. That is so true. That is so true. Discernment, important. I feel like the star seed is calling me again to wrap this reading up. So we're going to just pull one more card for us all. The Starseed Oracle. Yeah, that was my son calling, and I don't think that it's an emergency. He's been getting recipes from me lately. And I just realized, I said to him earlier today, I really need to like make a recipe book for you. I have this big basket full of recipes, but they're just all handwritten. Like it's a mess, but I have it organized in my own way. And he's always calling me for recipes because I love to cook. And so does he. We're like big foodies. So it's like things we can have appreciation for things like that, you know, in life. We look at it as a small thing, but it's really a big thing. You know, I have an appreciation. I have an appreciation for the taste of food and how I can mix different things together and create something new that tastes actually amazing. And having been passing that down to my son who has the same appreciation, then we can actually enjoy the time. We can cook healthy meals for ourselves, for our families, and it's a great gift. I mean, I can't not look at that as like a true gift. Yeah, I should scrapbook them. You're right. That's a good idea. It's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? Amy loves to bake. Such a therapeutic and creative outlet. Yes. Yes, Julia, enjoy making food for others. I just love it. And I love I can go out to, it has been a while, but I would go like to some restaurant or have something that I have never had before, and I can tell what's in it by just my taste buds are so sensitive, and I can recreate that without knowing what the recipe was. And I've had that was a gift. And I had so many people in my family like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just know. I know there's garlic in there. I know there's this. I know there's that. We can all have potluck one day. That's right. But it's fun. It is. It's very therapeutic and creative. And it's giving, you know, when we do something with love like that, it is passing that on to everyone else who gets to enjoy it, you know? Ooh. All right. Here's our final message. Forge, don't follow. Pave a new path. Be the leader you wish you had. I feel like I'm liking this message. Oops. If you wait until the path is perfectly paved, you won't be forging your own path, and you'll likely not even take the first step. Don't let a small detail, like being unable to find someone to show you the way, be the reason you don't step forward and lead. Let it be the reason that you do. The most courageous and needed leaders are the ones who don't wait for permission or until the morning they wake up feeling ready. They take a deep breath, put one foot in front of the other, and figure it out as they go. They don't wait for someone to lead them. They lead themselves. This is a card for leaders. You're here to pave a path that hasn't been walked before, to go first and lead the way for others who are calling you in. If you feel misrepresented in the media, step forward for all of those who also feel misrepresented. If no one's speaking out on the topics you feel passionate about, share your unique voice. There's no one on earth who comes close to possessing your unique combination of skills, gifts, and life experience. Don't look to those who have come before you to work out your path. Leaders must forge their own. Do it for your daughter. Do it for the younger you. Do it for the leaders who'll follow. When you go first, you make it easier for others to follow your lead. Forge, don't follow. Yeah, that is a great card. And I feel like that's a beautiful, it's not a push, but it's an inspiration. Because many of us do kind of question, maybe I'm not ready yet. Maybe I'll wait until I get another sign, and then you get another little sign. You're like, that probably isn't the sign. Let's see. Like, you know, we keep waiting for that, like someone or something to like lead the way, when really our soul is speaking to us loudly and just saying, just say it, just do it, just go, give it a try. One foot in front of the other. Yeah, procrastination. You know, I procrastinated, I have to tell you, teaching a class, a course on understanding and tapping into your intuitive senses. Even though I instantly knew that was definitely something in my wheelhouse that I could do, there was a part in me that's like, but there are others who could probably do it better than me. There are others who probably have better resources than me. And I held off for years. Now this year, just not that long ago, I got nudged big time. I put it out there. I said, all right, let's just start with a beginner course. And the class is full already. It's this Saturday. And there's a part of me that's like, are you prepared? because I'm a recovering perfectionist. Do you have all the stuff that you want to give out to people? And I already know I'm going to break this out. It's not just one class. I'm going to break it out into multiple classes. I'm going to expand. I'm already excited. It took me years to actually feel like I was ready. And why? Now I'm thinking about it, like, this is all I do, is psychically read and do readings all the time. This is the life I live. All I have to do is explain me, my journey, my experience. So I'm happy. I finally came out of my shell with that one thing. That's just an example, you know? And I thought, well, maybe a couple people will come to the class. It's sold out. So I'm like, I'm excited, you know, just go for it. Take the step. Your soul's calling you to try something, do something, write something, say something, speak about our past with drug addictions, with things like that. It's important. There are people out there struggling right now that need us to step it up. Truly, step it up, because remember where we were, you know, in our darkest times, thinking that there was never a way out. There's no light. There was no inspiration. Everybody else out there seemed to have it together, or seemed in a better way, or more perfect, or whatever the story is, you know, that goes on in your mind. No, we're here for each other. We're here to walk each other home. We're here to help each other. We're in this together. So let's all, I'm just giving you, I still have parts of me that are like holding back. Let's take that step. Let's take a step, one step at a time. True. Too. Oh, thank you all so much for joining in and just giving all the love to each other and to this entire chat. I love this community so much. Thank you all for joining. And I feel you all. And I look forward to the next time that we meet again, which I'm sure will be pretty soon. I'd love to tap into this new year energy, even though truly I feel like we're already in a new year. Astrologically, it would have been around Halloween time or whatever the full moon in Taurus was, but you know, we'll play along with the Gregorian calendar too. Thank you all. I love you guys so much. Have a beautiful night or day wherever you are in the world. And thank you. So much love. Thank you for all of you who are new that are joining. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you know when I go live, because sometimes it's very spontaneous. So much love to you all. Have a great night or day. Take care. Bye.